Hello, everybody, and welcome. What was a psychic investigator? Hello, everybody, welcome. Rosie, psychic investigator. So I'm back from Rio de Janeiro's We Work, and there's a lot to talk about. I didn't do a video yesterday, but I want to do several today. There's a lot going on, and something, or talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot today, and that is Elon Musk's announcement of the SpaceX IPO. But before I do that, it's the protection. I like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of lights coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle and step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources. That I create the good and all the good so it is. Okay, so let's actually around here a little and really get started. So this came out a few days ago. I actually started or separated, like took screenshots to start talking about this subject. And then other things came up. And then I went to look it up yesterday, and it turns out there's more information about it, which I found very strange, which is the fact that Elon Musk has like selected a date because of the astrology. So I thought, I'm not an astrologer at all, but I just thought it was really weird and interesting in a kind of creepy way. All right, so let's read together this part here, okay? Because okay, before let me just actually before I do that, the reason why I find this so very important to look at, it's because we know that this man has played a big role in our election systems. I think I've always seen him as being the person who basically changed the votes to benefit Trump. So it's really a situation that we have to look at, because if there is such thing as cosmic justice, then it's not going to happen, right? Oh, look, my tiger matching, tiger. So, so it's really alarming, right? The idea that this guy is going to take this company public and make all this money in a very unrealistic valuation. And so, and then I remember when it first came out, I wrote a comment under the Financial Times saying something like, "Is this a time when Ito or whoever has the information going to come out with it?" Because so the story of Elon Musk, as you probably already all know, is that he has created companies that have directly benefited from and depended on subsidies from the U.S. government, and he has tons of contracts with all kinds of federal agencies. This is before the Trump election this time. And then after the election this time, it's like the sky's the limit, right? For the guy. But if this company, as we have seen, has I think of SpaceX as a tool of that federation, okay? And it's crazy to me that this is gonna happen. So I want to know what you're thinking. And what's interesting is that there's a date. He has selected a date in June. So let's look at it. Let's look at the article. Okay, so now let's start reading here. The article. This is not. It doesn't just depend on. There's many articles. You can just look it up, and you'll have the information. So, SpaceX weighs June IPO timed to planetary alignment and Elon Musk's birthday. Celestian calendar meets high finance as billionaire's personal impulses shape plans to raise $5 billion in record listing. First of all, I'm going to comment here quickly. I don't think it's possible to raise all that money, that much money in that. IPOs usually raise like $1 billion or something, depending on the size of the company. But in order for you to kind of raise 50 billion, you have to sell so many shares. It's like, I don't think so. So that's to start with, right? And then Now let's continue. I just want to make this comment. Let's continue here on the article. All right. Elon Musk has proposed timing SpaceX's initial public offering to coincide with a rare planetary alignment and his birthday. As the world's richest man seeks an auspicious date for what would be the largest listing history. The rocket maker is targeting mid-June for its IPO when Jupiter and Venus will appear very close together, known as a conjunction, for the first time in more than 3 years, said by people familiar with the matter. SpaceX is seeking to raise as much as $50 billion and a valuation of roughly $1.5 trillion, the people added, which would make it the largest IPO in history and far exceed the $29 billion raised by Saudi Aramco in 2019. They cautioned that all figures remain preliminary and may change. The Financial Times reported last week the company was lining up Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and Morgan Stanley for lead roles on the blockbuster deal. On June 8th and 9th, Jupiter and Venus will be within a little more than 1 degree of each other in the sky, about the width of a tongue but held at arm's length, according to nonprofit organization the Planetary Society. A few days later, Mercury will also align diagonally with 2 planets. Another reason to target that month is Musk's birthday, which is on June 28th, people said. The unusual demand highlights Musk's personal imprints on SpaceX, where major corporate decisions have often reflected the billionaire's beliefs and priorities, from ambitious production targets to unconventional management practices. Musk has a history of cracking jokes about business decisions. Blah, 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 no. Now, this is bearing the lead, right? That's kind of interesting. Some bankers and investors believe that a June timeline is too tight. They pointed out that the company still needs to file a Form S-1 with the Securities and Exchange Commission to notify the regulator of its intent to list and arrange a global roadshow to market the shares. Any IPO will also remain hostage to market conditions and sentiment, which are more unpredictable than ever amid President Donald Trump's frequent threats to impose tariffs and attempts to influence the Federal Reserve's interest rate policy, they added. Brett Johnson, the chief financial officer, has been holding talks and Zoom calls with existing private investors since mid-December to explore a mid-2026 IPO, the People said. The offering is expected to see massive demand from institutional and retail investors who have been unable to obtain shares as the company had opted to remain private. Musk has been motivated to go public as the company seeks greater funds to develop its Starship rocket systems designed to reach Mars. Some other people said. Now, this is an important part here too. SpaceX has told investors that it is developing the technology to deploy data centers in space, connected by its network of 9,400 Starlink satellites, which Musk believes is essential if his conglomerate of companies is to be competitive in AI against rivals such as Google and OpenAI. Okay. Now, we don't need to go, I've read pretty much the entire article, but all of this I think is very relevant, right, to our questions. So let's get started here. I have questions. A lot of questions. So under the protection, let's see here. So Spirit, is this IPO going to happen in June, as the article states? Wow, it's interesting. I feel like I looked. Did I talk to you guys about this? Because I feel like I've talked to somebody about this. I have seen this image before so I see this image of Elon Musk talking, like as if he's some sort of meeting. He's standing though in like this private place, some sort of business meeting. Could be a beginning of a roadshow. Roadshow, for IPOs means that the companies will meet bankers, usually in like New York, or like it's like a presentation about the company's finances and those kinds of things. And they discuss very specific details about financing and such. Like about not just financing, I'm sorry, the financial details of the company and details of the company and so forth. So it looks like he could be like he's in this background or back room before this thing starts. And then I see that the same, I feel like I've talked about this, the same, this image of this, like this, oh, like a little stage, but it's like a window that is open. They're expected to be open and it shuts down. And then I see also this image of when I asked about the June, he's talking, and then you know how it's a space thing, like it's as if like the ground beneath Elon Musk's feet opens and he falls into it and everything crumbles on top of him. So it's the very not very opposite of like going up or sky or even IPO. It's just everything that he's done collapses on top of him. So and they were saying, Rosie, no, it's a no, it's a no, 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 ha ha ha. So okay, so let's try to walk backwards here to try to understand why. Okay, so why is it a matter? Okay, let's ask like this: is there going to be an IPO of SpaceX at all if it doesn't happen in 6 months? Is this going to happen in 2026 at all, or not at all, or is it what's gonna prove? Okay, so the first is it's gonna happen. Okay, it's saying that they have this date planned, and it's pretty far. Like we're almost at the beginning of February, right? And they have time. Like they have selected this time, and yes, it's tight, but they think the bankers are kind of pushing back. And they're saying the article said the bankers think they need more money, but the reality is I don't think there's as much demand because it's just not as it's not how it is. They can't just fabricate people to buy these shares. There's only so many shares that can be bought and sold. That's number one. And then number two, they have holes in the balance sheet that they can explain to investors. And the other thing is, so I see that they're planned. And so it is planned for that time, but things happen before. And again, guys, I feel like I've talked about this. Maybe not to you, or maybe I was talking to somebody else. I don't know. I didn't make a video about it, I guess. But I see that there's this distance, like let's say it's June, right? The 28th, that's his birthday. And then the distance, like it shows me almost like a couple months before something really crumbles and it just can't get back up. Okay. So it's really as if there's something, I don't know exactly what it is. I can just try to ask, but it doesn't seem like it can recover from this. And then okay, so tell me more so I can understand the timing or circumstances that would cause that to happen. So I see that there's like just like this, like, is it an issue that was going to impact the stock market? And then I see, oh, we can try to do it later. And then it's like it shows me like a bubble, like not bubble, like a gap, like a balloon. Like that would be like the image of a balloon, or like a balloon. And by the way, I'm sure I just want to show on lipstick. This is very related. I had to stop that one. So just some people, besides people ask me about this. It's a real, I like have this lipstick. It's a very, very good neutral lipstick called, it's matte, color matte number 001 by Rebel. I don't know the type of, the type of lipstick it is, but it's called If I Want to. So I'm sure. Anyway, going back to the regular programming. So again, let's go to that. So then they may say, oh, let's do, because it shows me again like a balloon deflating. And that is the thing that doesn't allow for the SpaceX thing to continue. Okay. And they're like, oh no, we can just try September, October. But then there's so much deflating. It's like this picture of a balloon that is almost completely deflated, and the value is just so small compared to what he wanted. And I see that he's looking at it like, oh, like there's deflated balloons in his hands. Like, it's deflated. As if all he had, about all these companies were hot air. There's not much there, as they say. And so, wow, that's really interesting. So then, okay, is there. So what is going to happen? Wow, I'm just let me process it. So what is going to happen to SpaceX overall? Are they going to eventually, let's say, regardless of timing, is this company going to eventually go public? So I see that years down the line as a completely rebranded company, it may come like it's just going to be so small because it's saying the government is going to take back a lot of this thing that were stolen. Wow. So okay. So now let's go back to this image of the bubble, like a bubble deflating, balloon deflating. Is the balloon like because the question I had before was is if this bubble was because it didn't have the image of the popping, like the burst. It was just completely deflated. So the deflating, is it because of is Elon Musk's geopolitical meddling, including meddling in the US elections? Or is it because of the AI bubble? What deflates the prospects of the SpaceX IPO? I see that I see there's a letter that he receives this letter. And it's like it's the US government is taking over. Okay, why? You can't it's a danger to national that's right, national security. Is Trump, right? Trump is I see that he's watching this in jail somehow. Like a jail, not in power anymore. And same JD Vance is watching this on some sort of TV that they have to get into the company to figure but it's not a like it's like there's been some sort of injunction or something like that, okay, related to the activities of the company. That's right. Now, there's an AI bubble. There's a AI overvaluation. What's going on with that? Is that impacted? Tell me about Elon Musk today. It's saying that this. Okay, so tell me about the AI companies parallel to SpaceX. What's showed me today? Them. Interesting. They show me them as like huge balloons, like with their logos on, like hugely. They are really all the way up today. So then let's say today, let's say March 1st, a little bit less, April 1st. Something May, April. It just shows me that there's like untethered, like it goes up and then it just kind of crumbles. And it can't, there's nothing to hold it down. Uh it's saying there's no there. Time of truth is coming, it's saying. Okay. So it's saying Rosie's all based on promises, and these companies are not really profitable at all. In fact, they burn a lot of money trading the models. So, okay. So what is it's showing me this because I'm asking here also, not verbalizing the question, but I'm sort of like, okay, so what is going to happen that will create this like back to turn to reality or something like that? And it shows me that there's like an air pump that pumps these companies, meaning without, and then I see the air is removed. Once you remove the air, there's nothing there. The air is the only thing that keeps it going up, or like staying like helium balloon or something. But you have to keep like because eventually it loses the gas, right? And if you don't keep pumping it, it collapses. It's just it kind of just deflates. So what happens? what happens? Let's see. It shows me NATO. Shows it's weird. It keeps showing me Biden. Okay, so for the shareholders of SpaceX, are they going to cash out through an IPO? And let's say within this next year. Expectation. Like this huge, they're like, wow, rooms and rooms of money they were expecting. Then I see fire, their money has been burnt. And it's saying it's gonna come out that it's been used by RAF in other countries, right? We know the whole story of like how it was used in Ukraine, right? Against like the Elon Musk stopped Starlink in Ukraine when Russians told him to, right? And then so is the truth about let's ask, this is, I think, also a very important question. Is the truth going to come out about Starlink's role in the election? Is the truth going to come out about Starlink's role in the election? It's interesting. I see this image of JD Vance, and JD Vance wanting to get in, and then somebody, and then an image of a foot stepping on a brake. He stopped. And I see that there's something that may come out related to him, like it's saying that he may not be allowed to come into power because of something related to the election, and this thing, whatever that is, right, will come out, and they have to talk about Starlink. Yes. So yes, it's saying Starlink will be exposed as being linked to the election. Change the numbers. Hmm. And then I see these like financial newspapers being like, hey, so where's Elon? Like, because you know how they are constantly pumping without questioning, right? They pump it so openly. And they're pumping. And then they're like, oh, where's Elon to justify it? So you just kind of, we'll say that he disappears, he tries to run away or something. It doesn't work. And I see that he's eventually kind of forced to have to confess or talk about what happened. Again, guys, you know, it's so interesting because of course I have a bone to pick. I have I have a position about this. I don't know like the man or the what he has done. So there's that. Now let's see. Then I want to ask from a different angle. Let me ask this: is the perception of Elon Musk as a person, is the fact that I don't like the guy impacting how I'm seeing things, or is this? I just want to make sure this is truly objective in that sense. Rosie, you know there's no there there. Many analysts know there's no there too, especially if this has been a company designed to create to change elections and to do this types of things as well in the background, right? So I see that the investors are like, whoops, I guess we can't challenge this because that would mean we are complicit, right? Mhm. So, and it's saying the investors, some of them already know that they're going to have a hard time finding regular folks and smaller companies or even banks to offload the debt to, right? Or they're 50 billion, really? I don't think so. So it's going to be exponential. Their losses are going to be exponential. And it's saying that those people, it's as if they were on drugs. They actually believed the stuff they were sold. when they should have thought more carefully about what was really happening, right? So, okay, so that's the issue. Wow, that's really interesting. I find it interesting. I find it interesting. I really do. Wow. Okay, so let's see. Okay, another thing that's interesting is that the article talked about June 28th as being his birthday. So we can ask, where will Elon Musk be in his birthday? Is he going to, and is he going to be happy? What's going to happen? June 28th. Wow, I see that he's wearing a like a gown. He's wearing this medical gown and he's looking. He knows that's his birthday. It's as if he's like in some sort of psych ward, to be honest with you. And he's aware that this was the day when he was supposed to have an IPO and it's his birthday. And I feel like he's having these episodes when he realizes that all the stuff he's talked about that hasn't happened, and he's been exposed as a con man. I mean, but because it shows that all the people that also the investors that bought into it, they also believed they weren't just pushing a con; they actually believed it too. So it's very troubling. Okay, but it's saying, Rosie, everyone needs to focus on what's real. Ask the light to reveal reality, because truth shall set us free. So so that's what it is. Wow. So are we going to be okay? Because we know these people are he's really dangerous. He's involved with all these groups of men or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the incels in different countries that are whatever. So are we going to be okay as a society in the US and also all over the world? Are we going to be okay if this man collapses? Saying yes, everybody's cheering it up because he is the king of the BS era. And that is the reason why all of this has happened. So it's like, yes, just keep saying, Rosie, keep visualizing the thing that you've seen. It may seem hard to believe because the guy got away with everything, but we know all of it is a lie. So, or at least most of it. Some of the things that he did build some cars, that's true. But other than that, right, he's essentially a really dangerous fraudster. And I see the kind of like, they're lifting the hoods and such. So yes, it's happening. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stop for here for now, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, thank you for watching. Okay.